Ah, the French champagne.
I'm kind of shocked too. And the one thing I'm going to bring up now, it's kind of a sound note, but I would say it's a big script issue for me, is all the Morgan Freeman narration. What the hell?
And not only that,
so
he's not
brutal.
even there at
What
the
the
major
hell?
points. Like, I could understand it if he went to Vegas. I could understand it if he was like in the corner with Frankie throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like, he's just literally at home in the gym in like the saddest room anyone has ever lived in.
And we don't know where his money's going. I thought we were
He's
going
he's
towards
a gambler.
He's a gambler.
He is a gambler. Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay,
He like intentionally gets paid little so that he doesn't.
So he doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, then I missed that entirely. I thought he'd been like squirreling away his money and he's living in destitute poverty so that he could buy something for someone, but no. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
I could barely understand what he was saying half the time in that narration,
Any of them.
which made
but that's
which
a
made
sound note.
Any of them.
well, it's also
But
it was
it's
also
a-
a note for him who decided to just kind of talk like this the whole time.
Ran it down, then went away.
Yeah, it felt like like Shawshank Redemption 2.0, like his same character
Yeah,
from
they were
Shawshank.
leaning into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were.
Andy Dufresne. It was a lot, and a lot of the times it was just too much. It was too much. It was that thing where I felt like I was being force fed something that the movie didn't want to let me decide how much to be invested. It was
No.
like, you should be this invested by now, and here's a line just to make sure on top of this scene that you are there. Okay.
Because Clint is a very good visual director. His shots are wonderful, and he knows how to show power and show shifts just with physicality and with like what's being presented. So
The
having
cast is fairly crazy too, as far as just
Yeah.
being stacked.
And it does, having Morgan Freeman narrate over top of these scenes that were also being shown distracts from the story that he's telling with the directorial lens. And I was just getting pissed off instead of like looking at what the actors were doing.
Yeah.
So take that, Clint.
Yeah.
He didn't write it though.
Take that, Paul Haggis.
Paul
There you
Haggis
go.
wrote it, yeah.
Fuck you, Paul Haggis.
That's
My
our
contribution.
Citizen Kane versus Paul Haggis this week. Fuck you, Paul Haggis. Unless you know Carrie Elways, in which case, please give us his number.
Come on, Carrie.
Come on, Carrie. Hashtag come on, Carrie. Do you know what the hashtag, Andrew?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
So the initiative, just really for the rest of the podcast and as long as it goes, is just to get Carrie Elways to come on the show, just for like, honestly, 30 seconds, if we can get that.
It's like a bumper.
Just like
Yeah.
a bumper.
We could
just-
pay a cameo for him. I bet.
I was just thinking that.
Exactly. There it is.
I want the real thing.
not
I don't.
paying.
I don't want to leave no money
Right.
and no dressers for Carrie Elways. I want him. I want him to want it.
So come on, Carrie.
So that's why we are trying to get the hashtag. Come on,
right.
Carrie. Come on the show. Hashtag. Come on, Carrie. So
All right.
anyway,
I think it could happen. I think it could happen.
I
Not
think
if
it
you
can
keep
happen
saying
too.
"come on, Carrie" like that, it's not going to happen.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hashtag
Come on,
Carrie.
Yeah,
Come
hashtag
on,
come on,
Carrie.
Carrie. What? It means come on the show. It means come on. It's got multiple meanings. Just the two of them.
It does. Yeah.
So-
I would like to talk about momentarily the murder scene in $1 Million Baby,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
and just like the major plot holes in how fucking simple it was for him to just walk into the hospital and murder this patient. Because I'm pretty sure that in hospitals
That's
they
the
have
second.
like.
That's the second murder scene. There's two murder scenes.
What's the
What was
first?
the first murder scene?
The first one happens in a boxing ring. When she lowers her guard, the round is over,
Right.
and she punches her in the head, and she
Oh,
falls,
yeah.
and
And
you
she
know,
hits the stool.
and she hits the stool. That's a murder. That's
Yeah.
full on. I mean, you know what? You could argue that they got the charges dropped to manslaughter.
No, she won the
But, like,
championship. She won the
that's,
belt. She kept
Yeah,
the
she
belt.
that's,
won apparently that fight.
Yeah, well, that was one of the major things I had problem. I was like, wow, her mother is the worst ever, because you don't even understand. That would have been a DQ loss for
Yeah.
the
Yeah. No, it's like no. She Hillary Swank won that fight.
would be the champion for
You're
sure.
the champion.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I want to clear this up
Anyway,
then.
sorry.
So
Yeah.
okay, so we'll get back to the murder scene in a second, or the second murder scene. But while we're on the topic, in the event that a champion who is entitled to 50% of the purse, if she gets disqualified and possibly murders her opponent, does she also then forfeit her purse to her opponent? Because I'm trying to figure out why the movie is called $1 Million Baby. And I know that the final fight is worth $1 million. They each get half. And Maurice's theory was that it was because the prostitute champion decided that, or forfeited her purse to Hilary Swank after committing manslaughter.
It sounds
And it's
good
more-
as a title, Dan. It's
Yeah, I think it's more just the title thing, honestly. Yeah. I think
But I'm
like,
asking- but I'm
I don't
asking a
think like
sports question.
$500,000 babies getting produced, you know?
$500,000 baby? That
Half a million. Half a baby.
that sounds like you're talking about half a baby. Yeah. But I don't have an answer to your technical question.
Nah, it's just a
The-
catchy title, I think.
The titular phrase $1 Million Baby was used as an insult during pre-fight publicity by Sonny Liston to Muhammad Ali, who
which
was
is
an
historical.
underdog at the time.
Ooh,
So we called him $1
okay.
Million Baby.
It's
there you
actually
go.
kind of a great title then, you know, like just because it's a callback to a classic boxing reference.
Oh, there you go.
See, now I'm
Okay.
a fraud now. That's
You're a hack and a fraud.
right there. That's Muhammad Ali's autograph on that. So
Oh,
Is that really? Yeah, why
It
do you have so
really
many
is.
boxing gloves back there?
my dad is a huge boxing fan, and he's
Oh, shit.
accumulated these over the years. So it's Lennox Lewis and Dr. Reuben Hurricane Carter are the other two.
Oh, damn.
Is your dad Kevin James?
My dad is Clint Eastwood, so
Whoa.
Even worse. I mean,
But speaking of Kevin James, are there any other before we move on?
Oh,
any other
yes.
story points about Here Comes Los Bumos?
I think
So
Here Comes the
many.
Boom.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
go
think
ahead,
Here
Sean.
Comes Boom has gotten off a little light so far.
totally.
It has.
The entire romantic subplot with
Oh.
Salma Hayek is
the-
atrocious.
No, the
and-
subplots in general, man. Why do
Yeah.
they have so many of them? Pick one.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Pick
whole,
one.
the whole,
Oh,
the
that's my
whole
dog.
night. Where's Jalapeno?
Right
you
here.
can,
right
you
here.
can bring him on the pod. He's welcome
Okay.
anytime.
Okay. Well, don't
She.
misgender my dog.
Sorry,
Okay?
it.
Fuck Jack.
G.
Disconnect.
I'm tweeting about this right now. Canceling Jack.
Ending your
Canceling-
career.
Hey, Baruchel's gonna
Canceling-
just crucify you, dude.
Like
You know
this,
Seth Rogen.
he's gonna be like this fucking guy. I can't do Jay Baruchel. He kind of has like a what? Like he's.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say. I can't do it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
That's pretty close. I like it.
It's in the realm, but I don't
is.
know him well enough.
It is.
Yeah, the whole night school classroom scene when that first happened, the first one, I was like, what the hell is this? Why are we here?
I understand it as like an opportunity to introduce Nico,
That's
but
it,
I don't understand like why it would be a continuous kind of like thing that they kind of keep revisiting. you
When
know?
it seems like they improvised the first scene entirely.
Yeah.
And they just had the guy playing Miguel who was like, citizen,
Yeah.
citizen.
I don't know where they got that guy, but
Yeah.
I'm sure glad they did.
He's a great little character actor for
He
sure.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
But
go.
it's also
He's
a
got that
weird,
niche.
yay.
Oh,
There's-
puppy.
puppy.
There she
Oh,
is.
jalapeno.
Yeah.
But it's also
Big
a funny scene where it's like just Kevin James kind of it's not heavy-handed, but it's just like people who are foreign to the United States,
Yeah.
and the whole scene where like all the potential punchlines are it's like they don't speak English well enough.
Yeah, like the one where it's all silent at the end. It goes to the different rooms where the cheering's happening, and then the new immigrants room is very silent. I guess the joke is they don't understand English.
Yeah, that's it's a weird subplot that we all agree this goes on too much
Yeah.
and doesn't serve enough of a purpose, and all it seems just to introduce Nico, right?
Yep.
Like the end of the movie is actually Nico getting his citizenship.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie. That's the
Yeah.
last scene we see.
And to me, it's like they really actually kind of missed an opportunity to actually have that as the main subplot of like, you could actually have like Nico trying to like study to get this thing done, but that's not really ever brought back in. And I don't want to change too much, but speaking of like side characters that they bring in and serve really no purpose, Mark Delagrati comes into this movie and as the kickboxing instructor, like the kickboxing coach.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He is never referred to by name and he is never introduced in the film. Literally, we don't know who this guy is or what his name is. It's just all of a sudden they're at the gym, and then the next moment they are at Mark Delagrati's house with Mark Delagrati's actual wife. Like,
Yeah.
and like there are so many MMA personalities. This is the one thing I will give props to this movie, is that like there are so many actual MMA personalities in this film that are actual fighters and actual trainers. So that's the one thing I will say that they got like completely accurate, is like, wow, you broke the bank on this casting.
Yeah.
But see, I was confused by that because I wasn't sure if this movie was for fight fans for that purpose, or
Right.
for like a general audience who was supposed to be like introduced to fighting. Because if it's for
Right.
fight fans, then they're setting people up to be royally disappointed and fucking enraged by this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's so like
Outlandish.
Well, yeah. Okay. So let me just talk about the fact that nobody who's never fought a day in their life is making 50 grand as a professional MMA fighter in like 4 months.
Yeah.
No. Nobody's making 3 grand for losing 2 fights and winning 1 in the underground cage fighting circuit.
Yeah.
Like, no, like maybe
there's-
like 250 total.
There's guys making less than 10 grand to win and show it on a UFC undercard.
Yeah,
Like, that's straight
exactly.
up. That's true. That's not exaggeration.
Also, the UFC is Dana White in particular is historically shitty to fighters and just people in general. They're not just like doing a charitable move by letting this school teacher come in for a chance at 10 grand or 50 grand.
Well, what I thought was funny was that like they kind of missed an opportunity to actually explain how the business works, because he would have never been fighting for 50 grand to win. His contract probably would have been like 2 grand to show, 2 grand to win. And like for that level, like that low of a professional fighter, like first time on the card. But
He also didn't know how much he was winning.
A performance of the night bonus, a finish bonus, would have been literally exactly 50 grand. So they missed an opportunity with the story to have him get this like amazing finish, unexpected, and win the performance like knockout of the night, right? And win 50 grand and save the school.
Oh,
We also
that's
you also
much
bring up a
better.
good point, Andrew, in that this movie implies that Kevin James either didn't look at or never signed a contract for this fight because he didn't know what his win purse was until the fight was about to start.
Yeah, but you can't be expected as the audience to know that information, so they needed that to.
Yeah, but I mean, did they not miss like a funny scene where he could have been sitting down with Dana White, and Dana White could have just been treating him like garbage? Like,
Yes.
and he signs it, and it's, and each time Kevin James asks a question, Dana knocks off like $1 grand off the contract. They missed that opportunity. That would have been so funny.
They had to
would've
get
been
the
so
food
perfect.
fight scene in, okay?
Oh my God.
They
But
had no
instead of
time.
having him sit down with Dana White, they have him sit down with Joe Rogan, who apparently is booking fights now
Yeah.
and also
Sorry,
orchestrating fighter
Who was easily-
intros. Like,
He was easily the worst actor in this film out of everyone who was playing themselves.
I thought he did a pretty good job. I remember,
He
I
was
watched
read
this
his
movie a
lines real
long
well.
time ago, and I remember him being far worse than I thought he was when I watched this movie last night.
Okay.
Shout out to Joe Rogan podcast if
Yeah,
you
what's
ever
up?
want to do like a cross promo thing.
Cross promo. Maybe we get, exactly.
I will not show up.
Yeah.
Also,
And so-
speaking of,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, go.
No.
you
I
hang out.
didn't have
No,
much to say.
Oh, okay. I was also going to say, speaking of the last scene of this movie, clearly I'm very passionate about this film. Speaking of the last scene of this movie being Nico getting his citizenship, golden opportunity missed. And also, as a viewer, I want to know, there's zero follow-up to this school teacher coming in his first professional fight and beating the UFC's like deadliest killer.
Yeah.
No press conference, no interview, no talk about his career moving forward in fighting, nothing. Like the fight's over, and
I think his kidneys at this point have reached maximum pulp.
That's true. Yeah.
Also-
he's toast.
also that anybody who doesn't fight professionally and takes a shit kicking like he does in the first
Oh,
round of that
man.
final fight,
Yeah, yeah,
he'd be
Of every
literally
fight.
dead. He'd
Okay,
be literally
this
dead.
is what I thought. This is the
Yeah.
whole time because I watched $1 Million Baby first, and then this film. I thought, man, this movie, Here Comes the Boom, should end the same way as $1 Million Baby.
Guys getting them $50,000.
where Henry Winkler is unplugging Kevin James because this dude would be dead. Seriously.
The Citizen Kane of the week is